It's like when I talk to people about being a product, I say it's like being a medical doctor. The core of being a doctor is like you can diagnose a problem and prescribe a solution. But there are different types of doctors. You could be a heart doctor, a kidney doctor, a brain surgeon. There are different kinds of things you can go deeper. So it's like being a technical product manager. In the same way, you can have different areas of focus, different problems you're good to solve. But kind of all doctors, hopefully can do CPR. Hopefully if you're on an airplane and there's any crisis, a doctor can give you some general health guidelines. That's kind of how I want product managers to think about themselves. You're solving problems at the core.
Welcome to another episode of Product Unfiltered. Today we have a very special guest joining us, Christian, a seasoned product leader with more than 15 years of experience in building and developing enterprise and consumer products that have impacted companies such as Career Builder and Miral Corporation, as well as renowned clients like Microsoft, Starbucks, and Squarespace. Throughout his career, Christian has been instrumental in founding and managing new business lines, creating new streams of revenue for companies, and leading the development and successful launch of multiple new to market solutions. With his experience in overseeing the product development lifecycle, Christian has helped over 120 new products go from ideation to launch. Currently, Christian serves as a partner at Silicon Valley Product Group. We are really glad that you have joined us, Christian. Welcome to Product Unfiltered.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you so much. And Christian, before we officially start talking about product management, can you tell us a bit more about Silicon Valley Product Group and your role there as a product partner?
Absolutely. Well, thank you. The Silicon Valley Product Group was really founded to really curate what we've found in industries around the world as the best techniques that the best companies in the world use to solve problems. What we do is we spend that time advising, coaching, and encouraging other organizations that they can work in a similar manner or even better. Our core focus has really been about transforming most companies to work like the best companies. We found uniquely that there's a difference in how the best companies work and how the rest do. And it's less about what these companies do, what industries they are in, whether they are B2B, B2C, enterprise, where they are located geographically. It's less about those things. It's more about how they do it. And so we spend a lot of our time as a product partner. I spend my time training and equipping teams. I spend my time advising and coaching leaders. But really the chunk of my focus is in helping companies transform from working in the manners that don't yield them value or that are less customer-centric, transforming into a product operating model. That's really the core of what we do. And a product operating model means one that you're focused on the customers, where you work in empowered teams, where teams are given problems to solve and features to build and are accountable to those results. But really one that yields value for your business and one that creates products customers love.
Also, Christian, we would love to understand. So you started your career building products and now you're helping people to build successful products. So we would love to understand how your journey started, how you entered into the product space.
Well, I mean, that's always a funny story because I would joke with people about no one ever going to school for product management or getting a degree. I was pre-med. I was going to be a medical doctor, and I started some of my career in sales. I was doing door-to-door sales, selling Visa, MasterCard while waiting to start medical school. And I got super successful selling. I even created a patent at 21 for people find impulse-based selling, being able to close a sales deal in 15 minutes or less. And that was my first time that I ever knew people valued ideas in some ways. And it's a common technology used today or methodology used today. I actually got into product by accident. I joined the company, and the company had a competition where anybody could submit an idea, and if you won the competition, you get like $1 million and you become CEO of this new business. And I didn't know much in the beginning. I didn't know much about the company or even the industry. And I just figured if I made it to the top 20, there's a cash prize at every level. I was like, oh, maybe I'll make it to the top 20. I should submit an idea. If you don't try, if you don't take any shots, you miss it all the time. So I said, I'll take a shot at this. And I spent probably the last week before the competition just talking to people, customers, people in the business, learning very quickly. And I came up with an idea and I submitted it. And I ended up winning this competition at like 23. I got like a check for like $1 million to build a technology business. And I cried myself to sleep almost every night after that. It was the most scariest thing I've done in my life. I just wanted to win a competition. Now I actually had to build something. It sounded good as an idea, like, yeah, we should do this and we will change the world. And then someone said, go do it. And that's very different, especially when you've not done it before. And I spent like 18 months putting my head down to figure it out, like studying how do people go from idea to revenue. And I grew that business successfully to like $10 million in annual recurring revenue. As I was doing that, I had another idea for a new product or a new business. And so I submitted it to the competition and I won again. And this time the CEO says to me, it's like, whoa, it's kind of weird because you seem like you have good ideas and you come up with good ideas. Why should we wait for a competition for you to share all of your ideas? Why don't you just manage our innovation budget? I'm like, what does that mean? It's like, if you think of something, just do it. Let's not wait for a competition. It's like, you can even manage the competition from now on. But like, I don't want to wait for a competition for you to share all the good things in your head. This was my first introduction into, it was like innovation management. It's like a head of innovation or something like that. There wasn't a formal product management discipline that was widespread and adopted back then. But this was kind of how I got into it. And now I failed woefully at the next 15 or 18 ideas I did. Like I was just failure after failure. I was like, this is crazy. My first 2 ideas were great. Why am I failing now? And I started to realize a couple of things. One, in the beginning, I didn't know anything. It was actually a secret because I didn't know. I was more curious. I was learning. I didn't make assumptions. Now I was making all kinds of decisions from a conference room. I was wearing a suit, like, oh, I have an idea, do it. All the engineers were far away from me. I was just telling them what to do. And I kept failing. And then I realized, I said, was it a mistake, my first 2 ideas? Or are there ways, are there patterns, are there techniques, are there approaches that can yield consistent results? How do people go from idea to value over and over again? Like this is not like one time by mistake. And so I started to look at some of those methodologies around, I was talking to the customers. I needed design. I needed to work with engineers. I needed to not make assumptions, tackle my risk early. And this was really my whole foray into product management. That was really how I got into this discipline. And since then, through a series of massive failures, I have not had a single product failure since then. And I've built almost 200 products in my career. And, and I've not had a failure since then because of these methodologies, these approaches, the mindset, and created an environment for teams to thrive in building products.
That's so inspiring, Christian. In fact, the kind of frameworks which you mentioned and the approach which you take while building products is something we have been experiencing while we connect with leaders at Silicon Valley Product Group. So I can see that book Empowered right behind you, as well as a t-shirt says it by Marty Kagan. So we all follow the principles from Marty Kagan, and that is surely really helpful as product managers and leaders. So Christian, while you were mentioning that, you have this experience of building and managing more than 200 products, we are really curious to understand what are the differences between creating, developing, and building a consumer product versus an enterprise product. Would love to get some insights from you.
Great question. Now, when you think about the basis of consumer versus enterprise, people might structure it like B2B products versus B2C products, or it may be products targeting that it could be looking at the path to market, like directly to customers versus going through a sales channel or an ulterior channel. Now, at the core, you're still solving a problem. Let me start with what's similar before what's different. It's like when I talk to people about being a product, I say it's like being a medical doctor. The core of being a doctor is like you can diagnose a problem and prescribe a solution. But there are different types of doctors. You could be a heart doctor, a kidney doctor, a brain surgeon. There are different kinds of things you can go deeper. It's like being a technical product manager. In the same way, you can have different areas of focus, different problems you're good to solve. But kind of all doctors, hopefully can do CPR. Hopefully if you're on an airplane and there's any crisis, a doctor can give you some general health guidelines. That's kind of how I want product managers to think about themselves. You're solving problems at the core. Now, for consumer products, there are some things that are different. There are many people. There are many consumers. In terms of reach, if you're focused on consumers, typically you have a volume of market, but at the same time, the value of the individual paying for a solution themselves is much less, right? Like I'll pay $9.99 for an app, while the value for a company paying for a solution for the company, maybe I'll pay $9,000 for it. So while there's more consumers, the amount they can afford in terms of value is much lower. The biggest difference is really around constraints, right? The job of a product team is to solve a problem in a way that your customers will love and in a way that also works for your business. So these are the two variables you're trying to track. Truly, I tell teams this, it's actually easy to make customers happy. I know it's people are like, but that's the hard job. We want customers to love our product. I tell people, you just buy all your customers a boat or an airplane. Is there any customer like, I'll be happy with you. Now, why can't we go around buying customers new cars just to make them happy? Well, because there are some constraints. We don't have to buy them new cars. And buying them new cars or boats or airplanes will not make us money. And you see, so it's not just about making them money or making them happy, or building products they love. It's doing it in a way that generates a return for your customers. So in a B2B environment, you have to take your constraints into hand. What are the constraints you have? These are heavy viability constraints. Can we sell it? Can we market it? Is it legal? Is it compliant? Will we make profit? All of these constraints around your business. What are the regulations around the industry? How do we play in the sandbox? What are the competitors doing? Are you seeing all of these variables heavily driven in the enterprise? In a B2C consumer environment, you are looking for the smallest unit of value with the minimum amount of constraints. Like you are like access to God. I want the volume. How can I go viral? How can I use the product-led growth? Is you're using different strategies to create delights and stuff because the unit is small. That means the risk is smaller. You cost me $1 million contract, different from like I lost $9.99 on Candy Crush. You see what I mean? It's just like, we'll try another offer next week. So, but at the core, I always tell people the job is the same. You're solving problems. You have to get good at solving problems. Your constraints may be different, the sandbox in which you play, the variables in which you consider. That's what makes it a hard job. It's not just making people happy. If not like, anybody that is rich could be like, I'm the best product manager in the world. I can just buy happiness from everybody. But, doing it in a way that works for your business or generates return for your shareholders is part of what makes the job very hard.
I really love the analogy which you gave about comparing product managers with medical doctors, because in a way it relates very well, because there's so many different types of product managers and there's so many different types of doctors too out there that the analogy totally makes sense. But also, Christian, while building successful products, product culture plays a crucial role. So can you give us a few examples of the companies which you have seen in your experience who have a great product culture, and what specifically did you notice that helped them to build that product culture, or how do they foster that culture? If you can help our listeners understand.
Great question. I often differentiate product culture from company culture. And I often try to do that so that people, because sometimes I will tell someone, oh, they have a great product culture, and they'll be like, they were just in the news about this bad thing and this. I'm like, there's a difference. When I think about a product culture, I think about a culture of learning, a culture of experimentation, a culture of innovation, a culture of discovery. I think about a truly a problem-solving culture, a customer-centric culture. These are elements of what make a good product culture. So, like, if you ask me, say, like, who has a great product? I'll be like, Amazon has a fantastic product culture. They are probably one of the most consistently innovative companies in the world. Now if I love you and you're my friend and you say I want to work at Amazon, I'd be like, no, they're crazy over there. I mean, they work odd hours, it's very competitive, the company culture is very brutal and stuff like, but it's a great product culture, and you see. So I want to make sure you're differentiating those kinds of things when you think about environment. Now, there are elements in a product culture, that work well. And there's the team element and there's the leadership element. In strong product cultures, this dynamic is very clear. The job of a leader is to create an environment where empowered teams will thrive. The job of the team is to take the problems in those environments or given to them, discover a solution to those problems, and deliver those solutions. This is the core relationship of healthy product cultures. So in a healthy product culture, what does that mean tactically? From a leadership standpoint, it means that there's a high level of trust in the competency and the character of people that they are going to empower them by giving them problems to solve. It means that they're going to create space for those people to test, experiment, learn, validate, research, all of this to find some solution to that problem. These people are also going to be working in a manner in which they can work together collaboratively, not in silos, not in handoffs, not sequentially, but they can work collaboratively where products, design, engineering, they work as one to identify problems, to validate, test problems, to deliver those solutions. And those people are measured on solving the problem, on results. That means the leaders have to staff the team, coach the team. That means the leaders have to provide them context, a clear vision, a good strategy. They have to organize the team structure in a manner that they feel empowered. There is clear ownership, accountability, and alignment. And then they have to give them objectives to go deliver. That's the role of leadership. For teams, it means, man, we are in that space now. We've got to experiment. We've got to be customer-centric in our work. We have to leverage data in our work. We have to understand the business, the industry, work with stakeholders collaboratively to find a solution worth building. This is the dynamic of strong product cultures. And you see it over and over again. I mean, if you think about all the big numbers, regardless of industry, any company that is all of the best performing stocks in the last 20 years, Apple, Google, Tesla, Amazon, which are, even if you pick healthcare or some other industry, your best performance are what? The ones that are doing research into what? Like maybe gene research into vaccination. So think about same thing, experimentation, deep research, customer-centric. I mean, you find all of these values to be consistently true in the best companies in the world. This is a strong product culture. Don't get it wrong. You can have a strong product culture and a bad company culture. Those things are, that happens. You could just not be a great place to work. You could not be, but you could still have a great experimentation environment, a great innovative environment. So those are really some examples. And you don't have to look far to find good product cultures. Just find good products. Just find good products. They don't come out of an environment that doesn't have a good product. It's possible that a good product can come out of a bad company culture, but it's not possible for a good product to come out of a bad product culture.
But Christian, do you think that, I understand that company culture and product culture are two different things, but do you think there is some reflection of a company culture on a product's culture or vice versa?
Absolutely. I mean, there are heavy influences. Absolutely. I mean, and I'm not suggesting it to say like it should be an excuse to have a bad company culture, because you can still build great products if you focus on the product culture, and still have bad company practices or not be there are foundational elements of a company culture that transcend the product culture.
Mhm.
It's why many companies, great product companies, run out of steam.
Yeah.
The company culture doesn't sustain
Yeah.
the healthy product environment. One of the key drivers of that is like process.
Mhm.
You start to process people, start to get promoted in the company, and all of the product people, they leave.
Yeah.
because it erodes the process. People are like, we need a process for this. We need hierarchy, governance, bureaucracy, layers, manage risk, all of these kinds of, and then you stop. What ends up happening is they create more blockers of
Mhm.
innovation than
Yeah.
enablers of innovation. You see?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
don't get it wrong. You can't long-term sustain
Mhm.
your product culture in a very unhealthy company
Okay.
culture.
Yeah.
And companies recalibrate. You see it all the time. They end up having like a sales leader now run the company, and then the company has struggles for years. And then after a while, they're like, well, let's go back and get a product CEO to come back in. And then the company becomes competitive again.
Yeah.
Hint, hint, our good friends at Microsoft or something. You've seen those stories.
Yeah. So now shifting gears, we'll jump on to the next segment of the podcast. We call this segment as Game of Products. So in this segment, what we'll do is we'll share some of the company's name or product names, and we would love to understand from your lens of what made those products or companies successful or failure. And if at all that was a failure, what could they have done in a better manner so that they could have they could have climbed the ladder of the successful product. So
Wow.
let's
Fun.
let's start with Spotify.
So first I have to declare if they're a success or a failure.
Yeah.
The first thing. First of all, I typically define failure as not maybe getting to the outcomes you desire in some ways. Like we did something, we expected it to do this, and maybe it didn't. However, I mean, there are colossal failures and pivotal failures in some ways.
Yeah.
There are some that after all is said and done, you fail. There are some that pivoted their way into success, like Slack or something like that,
Yeah.
just on your way. Spotify, I think, is an absolute success. And part of their success is because they work in an empowered team model, and they focus on what empowered teams do: solve problems in a way that customers will love, but also work for your business. They have so many examples in which there are many things that you use and do and love about Spotify, but are actually done for the benefit of the business. And you can't even tell the difference. You're like, this helps us make money, but you love it, and that's what great products do. That's the hard job of building a product, to do something that you're like, yeah, I really love this, but it feels all selfish internally. We are making money from it because customers are giving you a certificate of appreciation.
Yeah.
And that comes in return. So they great success because they focused on customer value.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's true. And also, I personally feel that being a pioneer in a particular industry, and not just a pioneer, if you are a second or third mover too, it takes a huge toll on the company to build successful products out there, because it's not that you're building the product, but you're also educating the market at the same time. Because
You're absolutely right. People often joke with me when they go into market. They say there's nothing in the market. We're the first people, so we're going to. I say, boy, I'm scared of nothing. Nothing is like a product. Everybody here can afford nothing. Like you can buy nothing. Nothing is in of itself. Nothing can be a solution to a problem. Doing nothing. We can get used to doing nothing. And then now you want to change my behavior from doing nothing to doing something.
Yeah.
That's 0 to 1. This is different than 1 to 2. 1 to 2, I've got some momentum. Like 0 to 1, it's like that's the drain on any car. Like if you have gas or stuff, that's on your battery. Is the first motion. That is the hardest one.
Yeah.
So I would tell people it's like there's not a prize in being first. It is not a unique advantage. It's an unfair one because once you're first, you're always first. It's like my daughter and her brother always fighting. Why is it that when I turn 13, you turn 15? When I turn 14, you turn 16? I can never catch up. Oh my God, it's so unfair. You see, age is not unique. It's just unfair that he was born first. He came first. He will always be first. So you're absolutely right. It's important that people recognize that it's great. It's unfair if you're first. You're first. Nobody will take that from you. But it's not a unique thing. Going to market is not unique.
Yeah,
that's true.
And absolutely, Krishna. And let's flip the coin and talk about the product, which was a market leader someday, but this story is not same now. So let's talk about Nokia.
I mean, there are many companies that probably fall into that bucket these days. Nokia, Motorola, BlackBerry. I mean, some of them still exist in their own different flavors, and they are doing things around the world, and they have high patented technologies, and these things are almost massive institutions in our world. But you remember when we're doing the Apple was in discovery for the iPhone? It took almost 4 years, like 3.5 years. Nokia, BlackBerry, Motorola, they were all running focus groups. They were asking customers, what do you want in your next phone? You know what customers were saying? Whatever you do, don't mess with my keyboard. I like my keyboard on my phone. No, that touch screen is a nonsense thing. Like, who wants to touch a screen? So all of these companies, Nokia, they were like, let's make a better BlackBerry. Let's make they were listening to customers. They were building product in a legacy mindset, top down. At best, running focus. We don't do focus groups in technology because customers don't know what they want. Most of them don't know what they want until they even see it. Because they have no clue what's possible. What are you trying to invent the future? Do you know what ChatGPT 7 can do? Anybody here? Unless you're like a technologist or AP, you don't know. You see, it's not even within the realm of your possibility to imagine what you want in a product. So companies like Nokia, they lost their advantage when they couldn't leverage technology as a way to solve problems, and they were still using it as a necessary evil, as an expense. It's kind of the Boeing 737 versus the Tesla in some ways. Just an approach to how you use technology.
But Christian, leading to this example, we are really curious to understand what is the right way to move ahead. Is it a top-down approach or a bottom-up approach when developing products in any company?
Well, to be clear, it's a little of both. And I want to be clear about that. The problems teams work on should come from leadership. And those leaders should get the insights for what problems teams should work on from their strategy. Which strategy is tackling two things. How do you get to your vision, and how do you solve the problems of today? That's what strategy is saying. I'll solve the problems of tomorrow and the problems of today. That's the strategic part. So if you had a vision of like the world's best phone, and that was Nokia's vision, the strategy says, well, we want to make money today, but we want the world's best phone. So I need to give teams problems to solve. But it's up to the teams, the bottom, to decide the best way to solve the problem. They are closest to technology. They are closest to your business or industry. So they are meant to leverage those things to decide that. So now, unfortunately, in many companies, both the problem and the solution come top down. It's a little command and control. They don't even give you the problem. They just tell you what to do. Build me this. And so you have all of these smart people that you're not leveraging their expertise and their brains to solve problems. The best innovations in the world, they've come from engineers. They are closest to technology. They play with it every day. They know what's coming. They even know what's possible. So I see executives telling teams all the time, do this. I know everything. Do this. I say, you know what? You may be right. But I doubt it's the most innovative. Because you've never played with that. I doubt it's the coolest technology in the world. This is within your realm of what's possible in your head. So if you give the team the problem, you may uncover something magical from it. That's true. So I'm not, I want to make sure it's not command and control. It's it's the role of leadership to give teams problems to solve.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they participate. It's not like only bot does up. We just let you go crazy and do whatever you want. We're still paying your salary. This is not free for all. Like, you're hired to work for us. So how do I make you work for us? I tell you the problem, but you're smart enough to come up with the best solution to that problem.
Yeah. That's very true, that you need to give your team the freedom to explore, but at the same time, the exploration need to be quantified at certain manner. That's very important.
Yeah. There are two things that I tell teams, leaders all the time. I say, don't just tell the teams what problems to solve. Tell them why it is an important problem to solve. And then also tell them how success will be measured, whether that's KPIs, dashboard, what does healthy look like? I just don't want to tell you, go make more revenue. I need to tell you why. Making revenue is important. And then I need to tell you how I will measure revenue. If it's like, then you're not really empowered. You're like, okay, we're going to do this. Sure, you gave me the problem, but I don't really understand it. Why we should do it. Why it's important right now.
Yeah. But to build successful product, Christian, do you also think that KPIs plays a crucial role? Because at many instances, we see that once the product is built, the leadership team or the product managers don't know the right quantifiable measures to measure the success of the product. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it comes with context. You do need indications of success. And leaders should provide that too as well. So playing on my revenue example, or customer satisfaction, let's pick one that is very productive. If I tell you the most important thing for our company right now is to improve customer satisfaction, I need to explain why to you. I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm going to say, look, we've learned that when customers are happy with our products, they stay longer. That means a longer lifetime value. When they stay longer, they spend more. Every month here is an additional $20 a month. If we increase the lifetime value by 3 years, we will get a 212% increase in revenue. We believe and value customer satisfaction, and you understand now why it matters in our business. Then I need to tell you, how do we measure customer satisfaction here?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it net promoter score? Is it a feedback survey? Is it a lifetime value? Is it engagement? Is it adoption? Is it success rate? There are many things here that could be indications. There are also things that are also healthy for us. Meaning, if I told you increase customer satisfaction, and you said, "Oh, I found a great solution. I'm going to buy them all $300 Nike shoes, and they will all be happy. And I have evidence that it will make them happy." You're actually increasing customer satisfaction. It is. You discovered it. Well, why can't we do that? See, we don't have values or principles, or we have constraints. So there are things that are healthy, like we want profit in the company. We want, and why do we care about profit? Because we use that to pay the bills, to fund innovation, to fund research. Okay. So what you tell teams is, we want to improve customer satisfaction. The constraint in which we're doing that is while maintaining our existing profit. So we can't buy people. Choose a solution. We have to discover a solution that increases satisfaction, that doesn't hurt profit.
That's very true.
So I'm giving you metrics or KPIs, active metrics, things you should increase. But I'm also giving you things you should watch for. Keep your eye on. Because you're not trying to hurt it. I always say it's like walking and chewing gum at the same time. Like, you can do both of those things, but you're not thinking to yourself, "Oh my goodness, I am chewing gum. Like, let me go." You just keep going. You're just walking and it's not where your focus is on. You may watch your step as you're going, but you're not thinking. So I'm saying you can do those things. You're actively driving a key metric while keeping your eye on one. Health metrics, balancing metrics. So I always look at KPIs like that, kind of what's healthy and what we're keeping our eye on versus what we're actively trying to improve.
So
Oh,
now, since we are talking about technology, let's also talk about the what the future looks like. So, since we know that you are truly passionate about technology, we would love to understand how do you see AI and ML evolving in the next 5 to 10 years, and what would be the biggest impact in the product management industry with all the generative AI hype upcoming these days?
I was just chatting with a friend about this the other day, and he was like, "You're sounding like a consultant." The blanket answer of like, AI is only as good as we make it, and it's not going to change the world, or it will change the world, and everything can be a fad. And I mean, it's we had the metaverse for a while, and we spent billions in the metaverse. And are we going to metaverse the metaverse? And the universe will be a metaverse, and is AI going to disrupt everything and change I go back to the early days of when the computer came out, and everybody was panicking like everybody's gonna lose our jobs to technology, and there will be nobody doing anything in the world. Yeah, and I think the only real job that has been lost to a computer is like the elevator operator or something like that. I think that's only statistically the only job that has disappeared, which probably exists in Cuba still, and some places may still have an elevator operator, but you kind of get the point. Here's what's factual: technology is pervasive in our everyday, and what AI has done is normalize a lot of the things that we thought would probably not happen within our lifetime, or stuff. It's normalized the pervasiveness of technology in our life as a generalized AI as a player, kind of with us as a co-tenant in how we solve problems.
Yeah.
There is some sense, that you can pick any discipline, and you can start to see some mundane task, some elementary tasks start to disappear to AI. But I've never thought about it as replacing. It's like, if I thought about a lawyer, a lawyer that uses AI to help prepare basic documents and stuff can work with more customers, can charge less for more things, and can drive more value to their customers sooner. The ones that don't, not that they're going to be out of business, but like you're like, really, because the cost of business is the same. But would you want an AI lawyer to go defend you in court and stuff like that? Surprise, he might just say something you don't want in some ways. It doesn't have all that common sense. So so working with AI in a legal field absolutely is the future. Replacing a lawyer, I don't see it. Same thing in our industry. Working with AI has to be the future of product management, the future of design, future of engineering. Replacing those disciplines, I don't see it. Okay. The idea being that solving a problem is just that, solving a problem. Most problems are not as mathematical in nature in the world. I mean, and I'm talking about even mathematical problems, or like geometry problems, like building a house. That is almost like you could be like pure math. A computer can design a house, can put all the stuff in there. But what happens when there's an emotional component? Regardless of whether the computer tells you a square looks good, I want my bedroom to be circle. I want the color to be pink. Pink is ugly, but I really like pink. Are you seeing? So there are so many things that you cannot make electrons, neurons, computers and bots do, and stuff like that. And we are solving problems for humans. And that constant outlier means that you will always have a customer service rep. You will always have somebody you always have a pilot. I mean, planes have been landing themselves for decades. I mean, I was a kid when the pilot announced to me that this flight just landed itself, and there was it flew its whole self and landed. So decades. So why can't we trust it to just let's get on a plane with no pilot, people, everybody stand by, right? So it's not just in the scary element of it, it's the fact that we are solving problems for humans, and the solution requires this deep knowledge of humans, the deep knowledge of the data, which you can leverage AI, deep knowledge of industries, which you can leverage AI, deep knowledge of businesses, which you cannot always leverage AI because businesses are made of humans. It's not just reading a report of a company and saying, I know what's best for Apple. I know what's best for Google. You also and then deep understanding of products that are constantly evolving based on usage. So can we leverage AI in the discipline of product management? I hope so. I hope we leverage it like we do every technology in how we solve problems, and it leads to better solutions. But I don't ever see it replacing the discipline.
Yeah. No, that's very true, Christian. In fact, artificial intelligence is growing, but we are sure that the emotional factor associated with any product or any problem cannot be replaced, and that is why the future of engineers, product managers is definitely safe. So, Christian, as we move towards the end of the podcast, what advice would you offer to aspiring and early product managers to become exceptional product leaders in the future?
Oh boy. Well, there are two things there. One, product managers to become better product managers and others to become product leaders. There are two different paths. So I think one of the first things I want to put on is that there are two different things.
Yeah.
One is getting good at solving problems, working with other people to solve problems. The other is getting people to get good at solving problems.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So one is being good at doing it. The other is getting people good at doing it. It's like a coach and a player on a team, whether it's on that kind of stuff. So not suggesting that there's not a career path that takes you from one to the other. What I typically advise early product managers, I try to simplify the discipline of product management. There's just so much noise about all of the things you should know, all of the skills you should have, all of the stuff. They ask me, I say, look, I love collaborative problem solving. I love empathy and humility in people, and I love grit and perseverance to push through. And I always call those things out. So if people ask me early for advice, I say, practice problem solving. Not the one of like, you always have those handymen, or you probably have a family member that can fix everything in your house. They can very good as individuals. You can fix things, but they are terrible working with other people.
Yeah.
This is a team sport. Product management is a team sport. It's like basketball. Can you play with one person basketball? Yes. But are you likely to win? Probably not. You see, you can show up just me against 5. You can do it. Are you seeing? So product management is a team sport. So I want people to know how to solve problems with other people collaboratively, to leverage the strengths of other people. Going back to my basketballs, know when to pass the ball, know when to take the shot, know which shots to play, know the strategies, know the play. Those people that are very good at solving problems with others, it's a good muscle to build. You don't have to wait. You have to practice that early. Go volunteer. Go help small groups. Go to a community service group. Pick a pet project of yours. Pick a problem that pisses you off in the world today. And just try to solve it with other people. Put people together. You're going to build muscle on becoming a better product manager. You're not going to gain mastery by avoidance. You have to practice it. So I tell product managers early in their career, if you want to be exceptional at product, practice product. Because there is nobody in any company where they are telling you, all right, this is all practice, where, do whatever you want. These are fake customers. This is fake revenue. It's a wartime situation in every company. They want great results, quality, do it now. So when would you practice? So my biggest advice for practice product management. Practice working with other people to solve problems. If you want to become a leader, it's a different career path, a different story. Your job will shift from solving the problem to helping people get good at solving problems. You have to get good at coaching. You have to get good at hiring a team, staffing a team, managing people on a team, retaining talented people. You have to get good at context items like a vision, a strategy, team structure, team topology. These are all important aspects you have to get good at if you want to be a leader, because your job is now to create an environment for teams to thrive. So, if you want to become a leader, you also need to practice that. Don't wait to become a product leader to learn how to be a product leader. You've got to practice that today. Same thing, right?
Good. Thank you so much, Christian, for bringing in so much of energy to today's podcast and sharing all those amazing insights. This officially brings us to the end of today's episode. Hope you all enjoyed the episode and our discussion has helped learn something new. Stay tuned for more such exciting episodes. Thank you so much for tuning into Product Unfiltered.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Rail and Utash.